You're listening to Mike and Scott read a poem. What's the emotional through line that you felt recording the episode that we just did? Kind of give me the ups and downs of happy, sad, scared. Where were you through this episode?
Well, I started off kind of happy. Then I got a little scared.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was sort of upset.
Mm.
But then it all kind of came together in the end.
Really, because I wasn't reading any of that at all. So let's see if the audience does. You're about to listen to Mike and Scott's emotions. Oh, did I say I'm Mike, by the way? And all right, you're Scott and I'm Mike. You know the real way? Anyway.
So I'm Mike.
And I'm Scott.
Or am I Mike voicing Scott?
There's going to be another twist in that story. And, I hate to do that to you, but maybe I'm not even in control right now. Maybe Mike's in control. You're about to hear episode 18, sonnet 36 of Mike and Scott read a poem. The expression that you were trying to think of is, kids can be so cruel.
There it is.
There it is,
so
yeah.
Kids can be so cruel.
At first I didn't believe you when you were like, there's that expression about boys will be boys, and there's one about kids, like, kids are mean. And I was like, nope, there is no such expression. You've completely made that up. And then I remembered, kids could be so cruel. So there you go.
Kids can be so cruel, that's it.
So that is an answer to a trivia question that the audience did not hear posed. So that's always a bonus. I like that.
Bonus right up front.
So here's something that we didn't do last week until the very end of the show, and then we didn't even complete it. What do I mean? I mean that last week we were supposed to answer a trivia question about Fats Domino.
Oh, we didn't get to it?
No, and at the end of the show I was like, oh, you know what we forgot? Fats Domino. And then I started talking about something completely different and still did not answer the trivia question about Fats Domino. I believe the question was, from 2 weeks ago, what instrument did he play? And the correct answer is the piano. So he played the piano.
Yeah, and I think I had guessed at him playing the stand-up bass.
That's correct.
But I think I was confusing him with Thelonious Monk? Was he a bassist?
Thelonious Monk was also a piano player.
Oh, he was?
Who's a famous bass player? Not like Victor Wooten.
Oh, was Cole Porter?
Cole Porter also, he's a composer. So not as famous for playing an instrument, even though if he did, I think it's the piano. Most of these people pianos. Yeah, but this is great. You're really testing me here. Famous bass players? I don't know. Victor Wooten's the only one I could think of, and he's very contemporary.
That'll be our first trivia question.
Famous bass players.
Yes.
That not from like rock and roll, like not Paul McCartney. I'm not talking about Paul McCartney here.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know Paul McCartney played the bass.
When, until right now?
Yeah.
We answered the question about Fats Domino. So now we have another one from last week, which for this week, okay? Each week we're supposed to have a trivia question from last week. And the question that we posed to ourselves was, what was on the poster of Apollo 13? Was it Houston, we have a problem? Because
that's right. I forgot about that.
Because apparently that is a misquoted line. But here's what the research revealed. And I didn't go to YouTube to watch a clip to confirm this, but I believe the research says that in real life, the people on Apollo 13 said, Houston, we've had a problem, or we've had a problem here. Something like that.
Okay.
Something along those lines. And for the movie, they changed it to kind of the cleaner, more dramatic Houston. We've had what is it? We have a problem. There's more immediacy to it.
I see. So technically, that's not a movie misquote.
Not a movie misquote. It is a real life misquote.
Movie misquote.
Yes.
It's a real life movie misquote.
So that's the answer to last week's trivia question and 2 weeks ago's. Am I saying that correctly? 2 weeks ago, and then make it possessive. 2 weeks ago's. Is there any other way to say that?
You could say a fortnight ago. That's technically I think 15 days.
Yes, and then I could put the possessive on fortnight. But
yeah.
I'm saying, was I speaking incorrectly when I said 2 weeks ago's? Because I'm...
Yes. No, yeah, that's correct.
That's correct.
Because, okay, just replace 2 weeks, because that's the subject, right?
Yeah.
With Ben.
One Ben ago's. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one.
Kind of.
One Ben ago's. Okay.
No, that doesn't work. Never mind.
All right. Well, that's all going out. All right.
Well,
so that's the answer to both of those trivia questions. So now we have a clean slate. It's a whole new week. We don't have to worry about any of that anymore. So now we could just focus on the sonnet. What sonnet number do you think we're on? Top of your head. Top of your head.
I got it. Okay, 36.
You got it.
Yeah?
That's right. So we're going to read... We've never read Sonnet 36 by Shakespeare before. I don't know what it's about. Do you?
No idea.
Except, hold on, we do know that we're in the middle of some sort of sequence of poems here. From 33 to 42.
Yeah, some sort of story arc, right?
So if you've missed the past few weeks, Shakespeare is in some sort of fight with this fair youth, this person that he's been writing poems to. And he was really mad at him. But then he started to forgive him. And he realized that he was kind of allowed the fair youth to do whatever bad thing he did. And I think eventually it's going to be revealed that the fair youth stole one of Shakespeare's lovers. That's what one of the things said that this was all leading to.
Oh man, that was a perfect intro because it's just such a like a soap opera here all of a sudden.
Yeah, I wouldn't change to a different podcast right now. Are you kidding me? After I've made it this far, after I've listened to him talk about bass players, you think
now we got a storyline.
Yeah, I was very close to turning it off. I was like, are they ever going to stop talking about bass players? And then they stopped. So, and then they started again. So let me tell you some other bass players. Okay, so we're gonna read Sonnet 36. We have no idea what this particular poem's about. It's going to be in confusing Shakespearean language, and we're going to have to try to pick it apart, grab some meaning, and give you an analysis. Right?
Perfect.
Isn't that what we do on the show?
That's exactly what we do. And I mean, to your point from way earlier, just we trying to bring it back here.
We aren't including rock and roll bass players, so not. I don't care about Black Sabbath's bass player. I don't care about Rush's bass player.
Or Flea.
Don't care about him. Sorry, Flea.
Unless Flea played stand-up bass.
Really, really well.
You'd have to be better than any of the previous bass players, just because he's got. He has a handicap.
I think there was a basketball player who retired and became a really good bass player or a really good jazz musician, and I believe he got cancer after that and died. So maybe we're not going to look this up. Maybe this is too sad.
Maybe that sounds like a good trivia question now because I'm really interested.
All right, maybe we're going to look up the...
We don't have to look up the death part.
Okay, but it's going to be in the article. I mean, in the very beginning of the Wikipedia page, it's going to say his date of birth and his date of death, and you're going to say he was too young, especially if he was such a talented bass player. I mean, anybody should, nobody should die young. But, yeah. I mean, the world needs bass players because I can't think of any. His name might be Wayman Tisdale.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
I think he was in NBA Jam. Well, I know Wayman Tisdale was in NBA Jam. I'm not sure.
That's probably exactly why it sounds familiar. Because that's really the only basketball that I know is NBA Jam.
Yeah, once in a generation, a video game comes out about a sport that people play a lot, and those are the players that are famous for a while.
Forever.
Yeah.
There was a kind of this same kind of feeling with NHL. A lot of hockey players reference NHL 96.
It's a good year.
I don't know why it's specifically 96, unless that was the first one. I'll look that up, actually.
All right, why was NHL 96 so popular?
we don't have much of an idea of what any of these sonnets are going to be about until we do our first read through. Then we kind of, the standard format we've been going with was, first we take inventory of our limbs and
Step one.
make sure that we're not dead from battling with this sonnet.
Confirm survival. Step one, confirm survival. 2, call for help. When help does not arrive, create a survival plan. Conserve your energy and drink a lot of water. That's how we get through these poems.
Oh man, I just imagine this post-apocalyptic type of wasteland world where everybody started reading Shakespearean sonnets.
Like, what happened to the earth? Everybody started reading Shakespearean sonnets. No, who told them to do that? We wrote them confusingly on purpose. We, all of us, Shakespeare's
back.
So, Sonnet 36. Let's see what it's about.
All right, Sonnet 36. Let me confess that we two must be twain, although our undivided loves are one. So shall those blots that do with me remain, without thy help, by me be borne alone. In our two loves there is but one respect, though in our lives a separable spite, which though it alter not love's sole effect, yet doth it steal sweet hours from love's delight. I may not evermore acknowledge thee, lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame, nor thou with public kindness honour me, unless thou take that honour from thy name. But do not so. I love thee in such sort, as thou being mine, mine is thy good report. Or rapport. I got almost nothing out of all that. I hear a lot of anger in there, but also good stuff. I don't like love. It's weird.
I'm hearing a very not wishy-washy, but very back and forth breakup letter kind of. Like, we got to split, and that doesn't mean that I don't have very strong feelings for you. I mean, I do. I always will. But there's something driving us apart, even though it's pulling us back together. I just feel like he's going like back and forth on that issue.
All right, you got it. That's a good start.
That's some. Well, there will be a problem if it taints our read through of it and it's wrong.
Oh, I've thought about that before, but I don't think we allow that to happen. I think we're pretty we blank slate it and go from the top and figure out if we were right or wrong.
But we'll never know where our minds would have gone had we not been biased by our original opinion. We'll never know. Hopefully there's an alternate reality where we interpret the poem slightly different. Everything else in the universe is the same except our definitions of these sonnets.
Yeah. And everybody's dead from reading Shakespearean sonnets. Those are the only things that are different.
That is in one of the realities. Yeah, everybody's dead. So, but Mike and Scott still have a podcast about Shakespeare, even though they realize it's killing everybody. The most dangerous podcast on the air is Mike and Scott read a poem. That's a quote I've heard. Haven't you?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's going to be our tagline. Mike and Scott read a poem. The most dangerous podcast on all of Stitcher Radio. By the way, we're on Stitcher now.
Hold on. Let's talk about this. I want to write that quote down real quick so we don't forget.
The most dangerous show on Stitcher. Why? They have this theory that if everybody starts reading Shakespeare, the world's going to turn into a wasteland. And then somebody else is going to say, well, wouldn't that be if people are reading too much T.S. Eliot?
Okay, Stitcher.
And it said when you have a podcast, you're supposed to say, hey, we're on Stitcher. I believe it said that right in the email, like it gave me that line. Hey.
Hey,
we're on
comma,
Stitcher. Yeah.
We're on Stitcher. Exclamation mark? Point? Mark?
Either. You could say either. I think it's point.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, but I think exclamation mark sounds kind of classy.
It does, yeah.
Like-
It's much. Okay, so if there was an exclamation mark and exclamation point,
Yeah.
and there also needs to be a question mark and question point.
Why? You don't have to have not all punctuation is created equal. I'm sorry, question mark. You get to take up half of the line with your curly cues. I'm not just going to give you all of your demands. It's question mark. He wants like an S basically, and then he wants a dot underneath that just so that we'll raise our voice a little bit. You're asking too much.
Too much. Yeah, question
Simpler.
marks. I suck at writing question marks. Can you do them well?
Oh, I think I do pretty well.
I
don't
think
know, I'm
when
not
I
great.
when I'm writing when I'm writing a sentence that I know is a question mark at the end.
Are you getting nervous?
Yeah, I get a little nervous. I'm like, okay, I mean, no anxiety or anything, but I'm thinking about drawing that question mark probably 3 words before the end of the sentence.
Here's my issue. Sometimes with my Y's and my G's, you know how some people do this kind of the scoop, the umbrella on the bottom for a J. It's like an umbrella.
yeah.
They do that on a Y and on. You know what am I trying to say?
Yeah,
On a
on
Y.
anything that falls below the
Yeah.
baseline.
Yeah, but other times like with a Y, you do that straight one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got to be consistent.
Got to be consistent, and I'm not. And I try to remind myself, like, no, we're going with, and then I pick one.
You'd be surprised that now that you say that. I look a lot into penmanship.
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of like fountain pens that I use. Your writing can be pretty messy as long as it looks consistent. When other people see it,
Yeah.
they'll think it looks great.
Ah,
Even if it's messy, but if it's consistently messy,
like this
it looks okay.
This is how he makes this letter.
And I'm talking everything like if you make all of your angles pretty much the same,
Yeah.
people will appreciate it. It looks
All right.
nice
All
to
right.
other people.
I'll give you a little more effort, people. All right. So from the top, let me confess that we two must be twain.
Twain, does that mean torn apart?
That's what I felt at first.
Here, I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, but it also isn't like that a knot or something like that. So maybe it means tied together.
Yeah. Let's see. Twain, archaic term for two. He split in twain.
Okay.
So, yeah, we got to split up.
Yeah. So that we must be two, although our undivided loves are one. We
Even
still
though we
love
still
each other.
love each other?
Yeah, we love each other. All right. I mean, we could do this. We love each other.
What's making them split up, though? Why do they have to?
Well, let's see. I don't know that he's going to say it in this poem. I think he's just going to describe the breakup a little. So shall those blots that do with me remain, without thy help, by me born alone.
Blots, is that... I'll look that up, but I was thinking it was memories.
Yeah, those bad things that happened between us,
Yeah, bad memories. Blots.
they're still with me, and you're not going to be with me anymore. So I have to kind of face those bad memories alone. When you have bad things that happen with somebody, like big fights, if you're still with them, if you're still together, you can kind of deal with them easily, or easier. But when you finally break up and then you think of those fights, they hurt a little bit more because there's nothing you could do about them because you and that other person are already broken up. So you can't bear these painful memories with them anymore. You got to hold them alone.
Man, to think about writing a poem about that feeling. You could probably write a lot.
Yeah. Well, one quatrain so far.
So, real quick, just rereading it. So shall those blots that do with me remain, without thy help, by me be born alone. When he says by me be born alone, you think he's referring to the blots?
Yes, those terrible memories.
Oh, born as in like I have to hang on to them.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't exactly know what born means, but in context, that's what I'm getting.
It's like Born Identity.
It is exactly like Born Identity. How he drives his way through crooked streets.
Oh, okay.
To
It's
escape.
what a
Okay.
past participle of bear. Yeah.
Got it. So it's actually the bear identity. He's been a bear this whole time.
Oh, man. It took us 36 sonnets to realize this?
I really want to rewatch those movies now that I know. Don't you understand? This is why this car chase thing is so amazing. A bear is driving the car. Jason Bourne is a bear.
Yeah, and when he was referring to eating salmon from the river of life,
Yeah?
he wasn't talking about love. He was talking about salmon.
Salmon, yeah. That beautiful scene where Jason Bourne talks about eating salmon from the river of life. Yep, it was really just a bear that was hungry.
All right.
So, yes, there's these terrible...
So he has to bear these bad memories.
Yes. Like, remember when I kicked you off the show and I was just doing a mic imitation?
No, I don't. What is
Okay.
this? What?
Well, here's what happened.
I blacked out for about 3 weeks. But
Right, and I started to feel really bad about all of our past fights, and I realized that there's nothing I could do about them. So I brought you back on the show. I brought you back to life, and now
Wait, did you poison me 3 weeks ago?
You weren't testing well.
With the audience?
Yeah, I gotta trust the numbers, and I know a guy that serves the kind of food that you like.
The only listeners we have right now is my family.
Well, they were really enjoying my invitation, actually. Our numbers spiked, but I started to feel bad about it. Okay.
You gave me the antidote.
Antidote. So when you weren't here, it was harder for me to bear the memories of our failures of past episodes. But now that you're here, it's better. But that's not what's happening in this poem. They are broken up. In our two loves, there is but one respect, though in our lives a separable spite. So we love the same thing, but there's something driving us apart, this separable spite. If it wasn't for the fact that we hate each other, we would love each other.
Pretty much. That's a good sum up.
Which, though it alter not love's sole effect, yet doth it steal sweet hours from love's delight. So the fact that I hated you actually did not affect how much I loved you when I loved you. But our love didn't last very long because eventually hate caught up.
I like that line.
Or not hate, but these blots.
Bad memories, bad just feelings.
I may not evermore acknowledge thee, lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame, nor thou with public kindness honor me, unless thou take that honor from thy name.
So, I think the unless thou take that honor from thy name means you become powerful yourself. Like, have your name be powerful in the world. Like, maybe you become a knight or something.
So the beginning of it, I may not evermore acknowledge thee, like we may not talk again, lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame.
Lest means like because, kind of in this sense, right?
Yes, but
Okay.
What's his bewailed guilt?
I don't know. I'm guessing. I wonder if it's either Shakespeare himself is famous and can't talk about his lover, or his lover's famous and he doesn't want to, I don't know, drop his lover's name.
This is you with the tabloids again.
Yeah.
Always, the first place you go is always the Shakespearean tabloids.
There's got to be tabloids from Shakespeare's day.
If not tabloids, then I'm not going to acknowledge you in public anymore because that would somehow do you wrong.
Because my bewailed gate should do thee shame. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think his lover's famous or something. Maybe not.
Even if it's just, I'm not a famous guy, but still the people I know, I want to have a good image for them.
Yeah.
I don't want them questioning all my life choices. And it doesn't matter that I'm not famous. I don't want like my mom or my friends or my cousins sitting at home thinking, that Scott, man, his decisions, I don't like him. Do not like that guy's decisions.
That that'd be such a great insult if you're like in a fight with someone.
Yeah. You know what, man? I do not like your decisions.
I do not like your life decisions.
Let me tell you something. Your path is not to be envied.
Oh man, we got it. Yeah, we should have a segment someday where we bring back all of our eloquent insults. Eloquent.
You've done this before.
What's the word?
I think you've done that exact thing before with the word
Maybe
eloquent.
I'm bad at saying the word eloquent.
Yes, because I think it's hard that the word elegant and eloquent, a little too close for comfort, if you ask me. I sense a poorly constructed language when we have words like elegant and eloquent. It's too
Throw
close.
it all away.
Nope.
Back to the drawing board, boys.
Erase one of those thoughts, combine it with something else, and just give me one word. We're editing out all the unnecessary thoughts on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Okay. So we're getting pretty close here. I think we got frustrated because I don't really know lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame. I don't quite know what that means. But
I may not evermore acknowledge thee, lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame. I'm going to look up lest in this.
Also, did we look up bewailed?
Express great regret. That's bewail. And lest is lest, with the intention of preventing something undesirable, to avoid the risk of.
So, is it that if I were to acknowledge you in public, I would make a spectacle of myself?
I won't acknowledge you in public in order to prevent me
expressing guilt, and that would embarrass you or something?
Lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame. To prevent my guilt from shaming you. Right? If lest means to prevent some bad thing.
Yes, to prevent my guilt from shaming you. Alright, that's not something you hear every day.
Yeah, that is a weird concept.
I should tell that to a lot of people. Like, just to let you know, I'm working really hard so that my guilt does not shame you. I'm working on it.
Oh, man. If somebody said that to me, I'd be so confused for a while.
Listen, I could see that you're worrying about it right now. I told
I'd
you,
be like, it's
don't
cool,
worry
man.
about it. I am not going to let my guilt shame you. What are you looking at me like that for? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm telling you it's not going to happen. I'm working hard to ensure that my guilt does not shame you. All right.
I don't know what I'd feel like if somebody was saying that to me.
I would not be
like,
happy about it.
I'd be like, thanks?
No, I would say, listen, don't tell me about that. I don't want to know.
Shut your mouth.
I wouldn't. I would try to do it in a nice way. I'd just say, listen, in my family, we usually keep those kind of subjects private. So we don't feel comfortable talking about our guilt and shame.
Oh, man. So well put.
Nor thou with public kindness honor me, unless thou take that honor from thy name. So if you were to, yes, maybe you are famous, because if you were to be nice to me in public, then you wouldn't be an honorable person anymore.
Why? Why do you think? Something crazy happened, huh?
Yeah, I'm just terrible.
Unless thou take that honor from thy name. Do you think what I said earlier still sticks to that? Or sticks at all?
I think your celebrity idea is actually an apt metaphor in this case. I think it finally is tabloids. I think the answer is finally tabloids.
Yes!
I think you're right this time.
The National Queryist. That was the National Enquirer of Shakespeare's day.
The National Inquisition. Yeah. Oh, was that related to the Spanish? No, it's just it was a tabloid paper. But do not so. So don't be nice to me in public. Do not so. I love thee in such sort as, thou being mine, mine is thy good report. So if you are having a good life and are happy and popular out there, that's all I need. Because I love you in a way that your happiness is my happiness. So it's
nice.
It's like the movie Notting Hill. You know, Hugh Grant falls in love with Julia Roberts, and I don't know, it was somehow gonna mess up her life if they were together. So he was like, "All right, we'll just keep this a secret." And then, you know, eventually he got to the point where I think he would have been. I don't know. I can't compare it to Notting Hill anymore. I tried. I'm sorry.
I was thinking, crap, I wish I would have seen Notting Hill.
Ooh, you should see Notting Hill for this. I should have told you. I mean, it's widely regarded that Sonnet 36 is the Notting Hill poem. That's the one thing that's very well known in Shakespearean circles.
All right, so I think we've got a solid theory here.
Yeah.
So let's run down that theory one more time.
All right. So now we're trying to run our program through Sonnet 36 and see if there are any errors. So from the top with running program Notting Hill. Loading Notting Hill program. And not necessarily tabloid and gossip, but how you are viewed in our circles. But that's still tabloid and gossip. Okay. Let me confess that we two must be twain, although our undivided loves are one. I love you, but we got to break up.
Although one thing that I didn't pick up on our first kind of read through is "let me confess" at the beginning of that.
Yeah. So let's just say this here. I have to confess.
So are they still together? No.
Well, who knows what they ever were to begin with? But whatever they were, it's gonna change, and it's gonna change right now because I got to confess this to you. I have to say this right from the top. We two must be twain, although our undivided loves are one. So shall those blots that do with me remain without thy help by me be borne alone. And all that stuff that we went through, now I'm just going to have to deal with it myself. In our two loves there is but one respect, though in our lives a separable spite, which though it alter not love's sole effect, yet doth it steal sweet hours from love's delight. We should be on the same wavelength. We're so compatible, man. But there's just those differences that are not going away. Yeah, that one thing, it changes everything. So even though I loved you as much as possible when I did love you, it's stolen sweet hours from love's delight. So it's a lot shorter than it would have been. We could have gone the distance, but...
The spite that he references here, should we just assume that it's just one bad thing that happened and not really guess at what it was?
Yeah, sure. Let's say that it's one bad thing that happened.
Just in our lives, there was some crazy bad thing that happened that split us apart, which didn't make us love each other yet, or less, but it definitely stole sweet hours from love's delight.
And then maybe the fair youth would be like, is this about that candle store thing? And Shakespeare's like, yes, it's about the candle store thing. Do we have to talk about this again? Yes. The way you treated me that night. And it's like this thing like, oh, okay, well, we're not supposed to know what happened at the candle store, but something went down there and they're not happy about it.
Well, actually, reading this again, so when he says, which, though it alter not love's sole effect, yet doth it steal sweet hours from love's delight. Is he saying, I don't love you anymore here?
It's out. It's over now. We're breaking up. Even though my love for you is true love, it's just we've run out of time.
Got it.
I guess I'm always going to love you, but the time's run down. You know?
I see.
Kobe Bryant's always going to be a Laker, but the time's about to wind down.
Yeah.
I may not evermore acknowledge thee, lest my bewailed guilt should do thee shame, nor thou with public kindness honor me, unless thou take that honor from thy name. This could be sarcastic. He could be mad at the youth.
Ah, you might be right.
And say like, all right, I wouldn't want you to lower yourself and be nice to me in public, like you were so nice to me at the candle store.
Looking at the lest makes me really feel... I see what you're seeing in the sarcasm there. I think you're right. I like that.
Or he could be deadly serious. Like, man, I won't even say hi to you because, that if you were to say hi to me, it wouldn't be good for you. The tabloids would pick up on it.
So if this is sarcasm here, then what I was hinting at earlier might be right, that he doesn't love them anymore. The spite never altered love's effect. What's love's sole effect?
I would think that love's sole effect is to have a good feeling in your heart. Yeah, and that love's sole effect. It's like the one thing that love does is it makes you feel good inside.
Yeah, makes you happy.
So I'm saying that whatever you did, it doesn't alter that feeling.
But it steals hours from love's delight.
Because it added another layer on top of it, which is hatred. If you broke up with somebody that you were never really into, it's just over. It was just you lost some time of your of being with somebody, whatever. It's negligible. But when you love somebody that you're really into, that love is actually still kind of there. But then there's all those other feelings that got on top of it, so that so that person, even if you absolutely hate them, you're always kind of going to love them because it started in a place of love. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be rough.
I see. I think you're right there, yeah.
Don't fall in love, people. It's dangerous. But do not so. So even if he's being sarcastic, here he's saying, don't do it. So maybe he's not being sarcastic. But do not so. I love thee in such sort as, thou being mine, if you are mine in some way, mine is thy good report. So my honor is your honor.
Report?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm report is, how they report on you in the tabloids. What do you think? Have I sold you?
It's very, as thou being mine, mine is thy good report. Because I love you so much, the fact that we were together is good for me. At one point is good for me.
Or I love you in a way that makes that possible. It's like the Phantom of the Opera. He trains her up and makes her this beautiful singer and sends her off to the opera, and he wants to live vicariously through her. I don't know. I obviously don't know the Phantom of the Opera very well.
I'll go with it. I don't have any idea, solid idea of what exactly he means by mine is thy good report.
The part that led me to that is, I love thee in such sort as, so this is the way I love you. And I was like, I bet this is about to be pretty noble. That just seems like when you're about to say, when a sentence starts with, here's how I love you, or here's how much I love you, it's usually followed by a great deal or some, just some creative way. It's usually not, here's how much I love you, only a little bit, just a small amount. No. So this is, here's the way I love you. If you are mine, if you're happy and people admire you, then I'm gonna take some happiness from that. You got to take happiness where you could find it. Yeah, not sold.
Not sold for some reason. I think I'm just gonna have to. Okay, I'll have to throw something out there if I don't agree. Right?
Here's the thing. You and I used to be able to interpret poems together, and it was so great. But now, we can't anymore, and it's clear to me that you and I can't interpret poems anymore. So we're gonna have to, be apart, and I think it's my fault. So I don't want you interpreting poems with me anymore. But if you can go out there and interpret poems really well by yourself, I'm gonna feel like I'm kind of part of that, because I used to interpret poems with you. Nope, still no.
I see that. Okay. So that's getting to kind of like the unless thou take that honor from thy name, as being if you get really well known for doing something.
It means you can't embrace me in public because I will soil your name. Not that this person is famous, but just that anybody has a reputation in the town. So if I'm the town, if I'm something disgraceful, you don't want to be
fool.
If I'm the town fool, all right? I didn't want to use such harsh language, but you forced me to say it. If I'm the town fool, then you should not embrace me in public because you should not be seen with the town fool. So that's the town fool theory.
Okay, I agree. It's like 80% there now.
Okay, we'll see. Again, I'm not completely sold, and also I don't really know how this moves the story forward. Is this like another step in his healing of this breakup?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what he's feeling here.
Well, for the last few sonnets, it kind of sounded like, like he's saying, we're gonna have to break up. It sucks. Something terrible happened, but we still love each other. So there's something keeping them apart.
Yeah.
Like it's something that's unfixable. And I think that this sonnet here, sonnet number 36, is solidifying that breakup of like, because he in the beginning says, "Let me confess that we two must be twain." So maybe this is the one. This is like the sonnet where they break up.
Yeah, you don't just come out and say in the very beginning, "We're breaking up." You build up to it. You're like, listen, what happened between us? It's awful. It's terrible. You keep building and building. Sonnet 33, sonnet 34, 35, lots of tension. 36, they are done. They are broken up. Yeah. Whatever was going on between them, it's not going to be like that again. I'm actually kind of going to miss it.
Yeah, so I think this might be the breakup sonnet, but we'll see.
There's going to be more to talk about to the fair youth, but this is actually a big deal. This is a momentous occasion, I think. So we're about to find out, or maybe this is just some sarcastic, weird thing about a candle store. We'll find out next on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. So we are back. We did not come up with a grading metaphor this week. 2 weeks ago it was a home run, fair or foul. Last week it was fetching a pail of water. So we didn't come up with a metaphor. So it doesn't happen every week. This week we're just going to give a letter grade. But it doesn't have to be on an A through F scale. You could choose any letter you want, and you don't even have to tell me what that actually means.
Yeah, it could be reverse alphabet,
Yeah. So what are you giving us?
So I'm giving us a solid M-.
That's not where I thought you were going. I'm only going to give us an A.
I'll give us an A-.
Well, my joke was that it wasn't on an A through F scale either.
Oh, I thought you were serious right there.
No, I said I'm only going to give us an A. As if that was that. No, okay, so my real grade, I'll give us slightly higher than your M-, even though I don't know the scale, and I'm hoping that an M+ is higher than an M-. So I'm just going to say an M.
That bad, huh?
Oh, really? That's bad? I should have learned your scale. You've got to learn the scale. Well, according to Wikipedia and SparkNotes, and let's just focus on those two first. They confirmed Mike's tabloid theory that the speaker is saying to the person he's speaking to, "You can't be nice to me in public because that might ruin your reputation. And I love you so much that I don't want you to do that."
Yeah, so there's social circles involved here.
Mm-hmm.
That, everyone's trying to maintain reputation for some reason. Well, I mean, for obvious human reasons.
So let's throw in the curveball that Shakespeare's - sonnets said. Is that the one that you're on?
Yep.
Okay, the one with the flowers?
Yeah, so
okay.
Shakespeare's - sonnets brings up the possibility that this sonnet is actually written by Shakespeare in the perspective of the lover talking to either Shakespeare or some sort of a noble person, right?
Which actually leads me to reveal this. This episode of Mike and Scott Read a Poem has been all Mike, and he's doing a great Scott imitation. So this is from somebody else's point of view. So this is Mike commenting on Scott by doing his voice.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so
it goes deep.
Right. So yes, Shakespeare is possibly writing as the fair youth, talking to Shakespeare. So when he says your faults, he's talking about his own faults, really. So, yeah, great bit of role playing by Shakespeare here.
It goes one layer deeper. Scott's actually the puppet master pulling the real Mike's strings to make him interpret Scott.
And this whole thing is just part of the algorithm of River Raid.
So genius. I've thought about that whole River Raid thing every once in a while the last week or so, or like however long it's been.
Not that long.
I thought of it like 3 times.
Well, it's only been a few days, so that works. All right, so, but anything else that we want to correct? I mean, we did, I'm all about main themes, so I think we did get main theme.
If we took the idea that it's the fair youth talking to Shakespeare, then the idea here is don't honor me in public in order to save your name because you're noble or famous. I love you so much that I'm willing to be without you because your reputation, your reputation, I feel is my own.
So think how bratty this is if this is really supposed to be the poet talking to Shakespeare. Because then Shakespeare's saying, hey, my reputation is really important, fair youth. So here's what you should say to me. Don't love me in public. You're too important. You're Shakespeare. Don't lower yourself. Wow. So whoever came up with this theory thinks that Shakespeare is going deeply narcissistic here.
That's so true. Inadvertently, but what narcissism is advertent?
Oh, I think... Yeah, this does seem like just Charlie Sheen type stuff to me. Like, hey, here's the thing. I'm really into you. I think I'm in love with you. But you're not very good for my career, so just don't tell anybody we're together. Oh, Charlie Sheen wouldn't do that. I don't know why I called his name any. Okay, so we're happy with the sonnet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is the grading scale? What is an M in your grading scale?
I was grading on the relativity scale that E equals mc squared. M would be the speed of light.
So we have E over c squared. That's what we got.
Yep.
So M equals E over c squared.
That's right. That's the reverse of that.
Well, I'm just
equation,
solving. I'm just solving for M. It's because I wanted to know what M equals.
So what is that? That means the speed of light.
Energy divided by the speed of light gives you mass. So if you were to take energy and slow it down by a factor of the speed of light, you'd get mass. All right? So that's relativity for you.
That's pretty awesome.
So we're gonna.
You did that so well.
So we're gonna look up famous bass players, and I don't know. Maybe we'll look up the theory of relativity. Are there any other trivia questions that we had this week?
Yeah. Why is NHL '96 so popular?
Okay, good. NHL '96 and bass players, and maybe E equals MC squared. When we come back on Mike and Scott read a poem.
Okay, we can come back.
Well, thank you for the invitation. We're back on Mike and Scott read a poem. And I have a list of bass players.
And I've got a list of NHL best hockey games.
And NHL 96 better be up there. But first, the bass players. We have Ray Brown, Paul Chambers, Stanley Clark, Ron Carter, and Charlie Mingus. Those are the only famous bass players. That was it.
Chuck Mingus.
Victor Wooten was on that list, by the way. The list was longer than that, but that's all I did. Wayman Tisdale was the basketball player who became a professional jazz bass player after that. Best-selling artist.
So great. Was he an NBA Jam?
Oh, I forgot to look that up. But I know for sure, just from my own memory, Wayman Tisdale was in NBA Jam. So what do you have for NHL video games?
So I misspoke when I said 96. It's 94 is the one that everyone kind of remembers. But in my defense, in the list of top 20 NHL games of all time, 96 is 12th on the list.
That's pretty high.
At least 10 of the the NHLs in front of it are all from the 2000s. They're all modern NHL games.
What was number one?
Number one
Hold
was...
on. See, I don't think they're going to go that recent, because you want to go something kind of old. Maybe.
Well, the article was written in 2012.
Well, the fact that you gave me that hint means it's not going to be like 92. So I'm going to say something more recent, and I'll just pick a year at random. I'm going to say 2004.
Nope, it's 2012.
Oh, man. It's just a big advertisement.
Yeah, I totally agree.
How could it be?
It really is. It's like, here's the top 20 best NHL games of all time. And the best number one NHL game is the one you need to go to Walmart right now and buy.
We're counting down the best Spider-Man movies of all time. Coming in at number one, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, opening in theaters next Friday. That is the best Spider-Man movie yet.
So number two on the NHL list is NHL 94.
Okay.
So it's 94 is the one that people reference, not 96.
So you knew that there was one in the mid-90s. You can't get any more mid-90s except for 1995 than your guess and the actual guess, fact.
Yeah, 95 is the only year standing between us.
Yeah, you were correct to head straight for the mid-90s. When I'm trying to think of the best things in my life, I go straight for the mid-90s. 93 through 96, those were the hot years in my life. All the best movies. Jurassic Park, that was all I needed. All right.
Oh, I think they're coming out with another Jurassic Park, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think it may be Jurassic World.
Well,
we'll have to look that up.
Here's the thing. It's probably not going to be that good, and Jurassic Park is not going to want to be seen with Jurassic World in public because it'll ruin Jurassic Park's reputation. So Jurassic World would probably do better to just step aside and let Jurassic Park heap all the praise and fond memories. And inside Jurassic World's heart, it could know that through Jurassic Park's success, there's a little success in the heart of Jurassic World. And that's our inspiring message this week to Jurassic World, coming to theaters in the future on Mike and Scott Read a Poem. Do you want to step in for a character? Who do you want to be?
I'll be Jurassic World.
You're Jurassic World? Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Oh, hi, is this Jurassic Park?
Yeah, this is Jurassic Park. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Jurassic World. I just,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I want to let you know that I'm coming out in a week or two, and I just want to say that, I really respect you and everything you've done for the dinosaur series and genre.
Mm-hmm, that's cool.
So because of that, if there's any way I want to just disassociate my name with you. Even though I'm called Jurassic World.
Yeah?
I'm doing my best to make people think that I'm not Jurassic Park.
You're doing this to protect me?
Just because I respect you so much.
That is the sweetest thing that one movie has ever done for another movie.
Hey, look, man, we got the same name in the end, so your success is my success.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite you into the DVD, into the Blu-ray box set.
Really? I get in the Blu-ray?
You get in the Blu-ray, kid. You're in. Jurassic World, coming to theaters. Again, we didn't look it up, so I'm not really sure.